Politicians may differ. Politicians may think that, look, politics is part of everything, whether the sector is important or one sector is more important than the other one, like they always say. And even ministers, personnel, nominees themselves fight for what they call, in quotes now, juicy sectors of the economy. Prof, please enlighten me. Any of these sectors that you feel the president must not play politics with? Otherwise, he may blame himself at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree with you absolutely. There are sectors of government that government should definitely not toy with. They require expertise. They require high dose of technocracy. They require specialized management. And of course, in the past, we have had, square peg in round hole. It is better this time if we have round hole in round pegs in round hole. And we want to think that Tinubu will not deviate from what is just conventional, what is normal or what is rather reasonable. And of course, have come to mind, Professor Patti has been severally mentioned as somebody who is tipped to go to the health ministry. He's got our expertise, no doubt. Then, of course, justice ministry is also an area where you cannot toy with. Even constitutionally, you need an expert, you need a lawyer. And Lateef Fagbemi, an experienced, sound legal practitioner, is there on the list. We expect him to man that sector. Peradventure, another person is not nominated from the remaining, another senior advocate or another senior lawyer is not nominated from the remainder, of the nominees. Lateef Fagbemi fits that bill. Then, of course, education too. It's very critical. The last time it was a tragedy where we had somebody who himself said he knows nothing about education. And you are leaving him in the education ministry for 8 years. He said he just came in and started learning on the job. That was a disaster, considering the importance of education to the economy of any nation, towards the development of human resources, and towards the stabilization of the future of the country. But apart from the confidence, the self-fulfillment that it guarantees for the individual beneficiary of educational process, so all these things matter. Education matters. Then, of course, even transportation to a very large extent shouldn't be politicized. You need somebody that understands the importance of transportation, how it has is a very critical aspect of infrastructural development of a nation, and of course, how it has contributed to the evolution of systems and societies that today are civilized or developed. You need somebody that has that understanding and good management of resources as well, because of the huge funds that would ordinarily go into that sector. What about housing? That's a place where you need some level of expertise too. Ministry of Finance comes to mind as well. It's even much more critical because you just want to put somebody who's not an expert in that sector. Oil and gas comes to mind as well. You need an expert in those sectors. I remember even in the military dictatorship period of President Ibrahim Babangida, he never joked with expertise. He was putting round peg in round hole. If you remember, Jibril Aminu, professor of medicine and expert educationist, was Minister of Education. Bab Tafawa, professor of education, an expert, one of the best in this country, was Minister of Education. Ulikoye Ransom Kuti, an expert physician, was the Minister of Health. If a military regime could do all that, why not a civilian regime? And even much more, why not a Bola Tinubu that is celebrated as a very good manager of human resources and an expert headhunter for that matter? So we shouldn't be making that mistake. We know that politics has to be played because he was a politician in the first instance before he ascended the presidency of this country. And we cannot deny him the opportunity or the chance of playing politics. But he should play it well, And we are not saying that politicians are not experts. I know that Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, for instance, is a first-class graduate of quantity surveying. He can do well in the housing department. He can do well in FCDA. He can do well in power or some other sectors that are utility-driven as well. Even Governor Wike, a lawyer, but he's been a builder over the years. He can also do well in housing and in works, as the case could be. So all these things need to come into consideration. What about the engineer, Governor Umahi, who is reputed to have done very well in his state, as governor for 8 years, Yes, he's got some good hands around him, but the important thing is not just to have those good hands. Those good hands shouldn't be an end in itself, but they should be a means to an end. And they can only be a means to an end if they are appropriately fixed into the right portfolio.
Right.
I think what we can do now is just to invest hope in him, trusting that he will make the right calls.